Hi, I'm Mark and I'm passionate about English. Okay, so for today's mini lesson, I'm actually gonna do something a bit different. I was catching up. Catching up means, how to say? Well, I buy a Saturday newspaper which has a lot of sections and a magazine. And I get other magazines, and sometimes I don't have enough time to read them. So to catch up means to bring myself up to date. There's another expression. So I just want to read them. So I've read them, and I can buy the next newspaper and read that. So I don't have a backlog of stuff to read. Okay, and basically when I was reading these newspapers and magazines, I saw so many expressions and idioms that I had taught in my mini lessons that I thought, well, I'll cut them out, because I kind of believe that sometimes people don't believe that these idioms, expressions are useful, but I promise you they really are. And the thing with idioms and other kinds of expressions is they're very useful to summarize an article or a situation. So some of these I've mentioned, some of them I haven't, but I'm just gonna film them and remind you of them or explain the new ones. Okay, so I'm going to pause now and then try and film the newspaper. We say cuttings. So a cutting is something I've cut out, and in this case I've put on my lounge floor. Okay, so the first one is all at sea. So recently I bought a new kayak. I used to have an inflatable kayak, one that you can pump up, but I decided that I wanted to buy another kayak that would fit under the floor of my camper van. It was very difficult to find one that would actually fit, but then I found one, or I discovered one that came apart, that split up, and so I went to a shop, or it's much bigger than a shop. It's actually a really big place, and I bought a new kayak that splits in half, and you can actually put a middle section so that you can go out and have two people. And actually there's a clip on YouTube, which maybe I'll put on Facebook, where you can add more and more sections, and I think there's one clip that has about 25 different people in one kayak. And I saw this magazine called All at Sea. So of course, in a way, this is very relevant to the shop. All at Sea, it's about boats and kayaks and surfboards and windsurfers and so on. But all at sea also means when you're in a flap, or you're in a difficult situation, you're not sure what to do. So there's one. Here is one I haven't done before. I'll go down. I'd be bored to death lying on a beach. Okay, another expression, I'd be bored to tears. It basically just means I'd be really bored. Okay, then we're going to go on to another one, which it's about swimming pools, but it says take the plunge. Now I did a mini lesson with Greta, and I explained test the water, dive in, but I didn't explain this one. Take the plunge means just take the risk. So although it's about swimming, it's also referring to the idea that you just take the risk. You jump in. You don't worry about things. Okay, here's another one which I didn't explain. And it says, to avoid being a lame duck, Obama must act. So it's talking about President Obama in the United States. A lame duck. Okay, I've explained water off a duck's back, which means it doesn't bother you, it doesn't worry you. But a lame duck is someone who is, well, someone who's useless, someone who can't do anything. So a lame duck, well, it's kind of saying they can't walk, they can't fly, they can't do anything without other people. Okay, so a lame duck is someone who just really is useless. Here is another one I haven't explained yet. The plot thickens. Okay, now this article is actually talking about allotments. Now, allotments are something in Britain where you can grow vegetables. It's not usually so close to your house, but you can go there, you can plant vegetables, plant seeds, and grow your vegetables and so on. The plot thickens is also used in talking about books, especially thrillers, where the story becomes more complicated. But we also talk about an allotment as a plot. So that's the reference there. Okay, I'm going to go here. Here's another one which I haven't explained. If you say the world's your oyster, now an oyster is a kind of shellfish, supposed to be good for sexual stamina and so on. But if the expression "the world's your oyster" means the world's your opportunity, you can do anything you like. Yeah, that's clear. Okay, now this is a rather more difficult one. Let me find it. Oh dear. A right royal pain in the asp. Okay, so if somebody is a pain in the arse, it means they annoy you or they irritate you. A royal pain in the asp. Okay, we've got two things going on here. A royal is because it means a really big pain in the arse. But in this case, it's kind of talking about royalty. An asp is a kind of snake. So in this article, they are talking about Cleopatra. So instead of arse, they are talking about asp. So this is a very clever play on words. A right royal pain in the asp basically means a pain in the arse. But it's a clever play on words, and it's something that people do in headlines all the time. Okay, here we go. In deep water. Okay, I did explain this in maybe the mini lesson with Greta, and maybe another mini lesson. In deep water, okay, so again, this is talking about swimming or going somewhere on holiday. But it basically means in big trouble. So maybe you did something wrong at work, and now you're in deep trouble. Okay, here's another one. Okay, what sank Julia Gillard? Aussie. Aussie means Australian, sexism or her own political mistakes. And then the sub-headline is she blazed a trail for Australia's women, then saw her career go up in smoke. Okay, to blaze a trail means to do something which hasn't been done before. Go up in smoke means kind of disappear without trace. Yeah, people forget her. Maybe I explained this in the lesson with Clive. To go up in smoke, it just means to disappear. Okay, here is a very useful word. Tricky. Okay, this is a very typical word you don't learn in high school or language school. Tricky subjects. Okay, I'm not too sure what this article is about, but tricky just means difficult. So I could say learning the bass is tricky, or the past perfect is a tricky bit of grammar. It's something basically that means difficult. Okay, the next one. Okay, I haven't done this one. I wouldn't get out of bed for this, Kim. So this is talking about a play, and I gave an expression with Paul, the estate agent. It's nothing to write home about. Okay, so this is similar. I wouldn't get out of bed means it's really not that good. It's nothing special. It's nothing to write home about. Okay. Now here is another very interesting use of an idiom. In fact, it's two idioms. Okay, dog meets cat, and it's love at first sight. Okay, so if you meet somebody and you say it's love at first sight, it means you just kind of fell in love, or you fell head over heels in love as soon as you saw the other person. The mini lesson in the pet shop with Ruby, we were talking about they fight like cat and dog. So they fight like cat and dog means they argue a lot. So this is very clever. Dog meets cat, and it's love at first sight. So one person meets a person who's very different, but they still find each other very attractive. Okay, here's one we haven't done. This is from a sports section. The wrestler raises his game. Okay, to raise your game means to improve, or to do something that impresses other people. So, for example, Suarez, who plays for Liverpool, he wants to be transferred, he wants to play for another team. So the more he can raise his game, the more he can play better when he plays for Liverpool, the more his price will increase. Okay, here's one I've done. It's gone a little bit at an angle. Don't get ripped off. Your guide to rogue traders. Okay, so this was a lesson with Michael in the corner shop mini lesson. If you're ripped off, it means you're kind of cheated. So maybe somebody builds my conservatory for me, and they say it's, I don't know, £20,000, but actually it should be just £10,000. So I lost £10,000. I was ripped off. I was cheated out of £10,000. Okay. Here's one I haven't done. Kind of a little bit to do with financial, and sometimes I think maybe you think the the subjects I choose are a lot to do with relationships and so on. But a lot of these expressions can be used in all sorts of situations. So will the SEC start getting tough with wrongdoers? Don't bank on it. Don't bank on it means don't depend on it. Don't believe it. Now, I'm not sure what SEC means. Okay, so I would have to read the article a little bit. And that's a good example of checking something else to find out what it means. Okay, I'm going to have to move this a little bit. Okay, so here is another expression from the mini lesson with Paul, the estate agent. Home is where the heart is. So he was sort of saying that where you live, and if you've got a family especially, That's where your heart is. That's where you like to be. Okay, that's pretty easy. All right. Here's another one. I'm going to go up here because it's a big article. Which football clubs are on the ball? Okay, I explained this in the mini lesson with Neil when I was playing racquetball with him. On the ball means, when you're ready, when you're thinking intelligently, when you've got things right. So this is an article talking about the beginning of the football season, and it's saying which football clubs are ready to start the season. Okay, so that's a good example again. Here's one which I didn't explain. On a roll. Okay, so let's say, well, actually not let's say, it's true. Today I recorded 4 mini lessons. So today I'm on a roll. It means I'm doing well, I'm feeling good, and things are going well. So yeah, sometimes I might just do 1 mini lesson in a day, or no mini lessons a day, but to do 4 mini lessons in a day is great. So I'm on a roll. I'm going to pause now. That's the end of the expressions. So really, I want you to believe that the expressions and idioms I'm teaching are really useful. Because there's some, I don't know, I feel there's some doubt amongst people that they're not. But the problem is with idioms and this kind of expressions, if you don't understand them a bit, you don't understand them at all, because you can't translate them. That's the key problem. Okay, I'll just pause. Okay, so that was a kind of unusual mini lesson without me being in it so much. But yeah, I really want to, okay, here's a phrasal verb, impress upon you, or to make you believe that idioms, well, also phrasal verbs. I think many people think phrasal verbs are something special, but they're not. We use phrasal verbs, we use idioms so much in English, and I imagine we use them more than other languages, or some other languages, let's say. I don't want to get myself into trouble. Okay, so that's the end of today's mini lesson. I will keep teaching idioms and phrasal verbs in the lessons in the courses starting in September, and by the end of the year you will know loads, you will know lots, you will know tons of idioms and phrasal verbs, which will really help you understand English. Okay, that's the end of today's mini lesson. See you in the next one. Bye for now. Have a good day.